What's up guys, it's Jughead here, just a down-to-earth guy trying to bring you some down-to-earth content. Welcome back to our Let's Watch Hunter x Hunter series. Today we are going to be watching episode 55, titled Allies and Lies. We're getting more deception, more lies, more double agent trickery going on because Hisoka has contacted Kurapika. Kurapika knows the bodies were faked. He knows the Phantom Troupe are still alive. And on Hisoka's side, we need to see how he's going to weasel his way out of the rest of the troop, thinking he has betrayed, ratted out Chrollo and the rest of the troop. So, without any more waiting, let's get right into the episode to see exactly what's about to go down. So, in 3, 2, 1, let's play. Picking up where we left off last episode, Hisoka, I'm assuming, like I said in my discussion, uses texture surprise to switch out the fortunes, but I'm interested how else he is going to weasel his way out, because even his switched fortune still sort of incriminates him as a traitor. All I can say is that the first one was true. Oh, and the sword of law. It would amount to telling you what I can't say. That has to be something with the sword of law. If he's trying to say that he physically can't be compelled to answer. If he's trying to make up the fact that, hey, this is what this sword of law is forcing me to act, or forcing me to be, or forcing me to say, that's a clever way of doing it. After seeing Hisoka's fortune, Nobunaga suspects Hisoka betraying him. Chrollo's going to step in at some point, interrogate him as the leader. I was going to say, he's not going to pussy out. Who did that? Chrollo did that? How did the boss just do that? What power was that? Here's the interrogation. Repeating the... His face shaking. So you only found out about Cortopi's ability yesterday. That's why I didn't include him. So the sword of law makes it so Hisoka can't give up anything about Kurapika, the chain user, but the chain user could grab information from him. 2 abilities at the very least. Yep. Was able to capture Vogan, and one that restricts Hisoka's abilities, which Kurapika technically does have. That is the judgment chain. Just like the thing that pierces your heart if you don't follow what Kurapika tells you. Chrollo using 100% of his brain power, only for it to be all a lot. This man's getting horny over his own genius. Yes. Which he was. From what I remember from that episode, nobody could see the chains. Yep. But they don't know that. Texture surprise? Keep them here. Don't let them leave. And then the other fortune plays out. Yeah, it could go 3, 4, 5 more years before y'all are in the same position again. The 11-legged spider grows homesick, losing 5 more legs. Yep, if you guys go home, you're gonna die, so stay in your canoe. Contradicting the first fortune. He is not moving an inch. What are you doing? Staying? Ooh. Killua wants it for the reward. Gon wants it for the personal achievement or the justice or just purely helping Kurapika. And you still have to buy the game to get to your dad. Good 40%. I'm going to guess 40%. Okay. Hey, 70%'s not horrible. Oh, kind of coming down to my number. Still better than a coin flip, though. Yeah. How the hell would you end up doing that? All 4 of you. And Leorio, even though I don't even know what he does. Even though I'm going to guess he's a manipulator. I said that a long time ago, but I don't even know if he'd be useful or not. When is she going to find out she no longer has powers? Can they speak telepathically? What the hell was that? Yeah, even if they found out that they were alive, they don't want to mess with that. What did you want? Yeah, Gon wants to hear that. Hell yeah. You can't tell Gon you'll be risking your life. That's only going to make him want to do it more. Especially if that means his friend Kurapika is going to be risking his life. Yeah, Pakunoda's dead. Pakunoda was the one in the fortune that was supposed to die. One of the legs that's going to die. Kurapika's wants Pakunoda because if Kurapika can get Pakunoda, use the judgment chain on Pakunoda, restrict Pakunoda from revealing the truth and what she knows about whatever that she gained from Gon, Killua, whatever, and can't say anything without dying, then either she follows the rules and doesn't say anything, and so it doesn't matter what she's gained, or she breaks the rule because of her loyalty to the troop and she dies. At least he's honest about it. I don't know if I can do it. Let me sit on it. Yeah, you wouldn't accept our help here. You wouldn't even return our calls. Eliminate. Damn. No matter what the sacrifice. That resolve is what makes him so fucking strong. They're going to keep learning more and more information. If they don't know about it, it can't be used against them. They can't gain that information. So Gon has to hear it. Only. Each of my fine shadings has a different function. 2 can only be used against Spider. 2 of them can be used. Chain jail. Locks him down into a Zetsu. Judgment chain. Declare a binding rule. Break that rule, they die. But there's a dagger in his own heart. I would die if I ever attacked anyone who isn't in the troop with my chains. But then I realized something. What if attacking myself meant breaking the rule? It's possible I'd be an exception, but I didn't know for sure. Adjusted the rule further. I only use the chain jail against the spiders. That means I can use the judgment chain on people other than the spiders. Huh? But that chain has a condition as well. This chain can only be used when my eyes are scarlet. So at will, he can do it. So they can change at will. By vowing to never release this chain, and to always risk death, the power in my pinky was resolved by my unique nature. When my eyes turn scarlet, I become a specialist. I know that. I can use any ability I've learned at full strength. I'm grasping it slowly. The cogs and gears are turning. Yeah, let's get back to that question. Ooh, let's make multiple of them. They heard it anyways. We're a team. We should share the same fate. I love that. Let's take in these smiles from Kurapika while we can, because who knows how many we're going to be seeing. Blessed to have them as friends. I'd rather die than let down one of my friends. I'm gonna have to watch that scene 2-3 more times to really understand everything he said. Black merchandise you will find, so you will die. You don't want to be alone. Today. 2 choices. Pride and betrayal. Yep. While the Reaper hovers near. Yep. Kurapika's gonna capture Pakunoda. If you tell the truth, you die. If you don't answer the phone, we'll come calling 1 time in 3. Okay. Yeah, Pakunoda's dead. No being alone, and we're in groups now. These people are fine. These people probably not fine, and these people are fine. Shalnark and the other, and Nobunaga, dead. Pakunoda, dead. They're gonna all finally realize, hey, these two kids. Are we talking about Gon or Killua? There is Hisoka in the background. Wait. Let me go back. Oh, more dummy hideouts. 50 more hideouts. Cortopi creeps me the fuck out. I forgot what N is. I'm gonna have to review all of that too. These are all the fake hideouts. Was Nobunaga talking about Gon or Killua wanting to recruit? Okay, jumping in, since that whole conversation between Gon and Kurapika, along with the entire scene with the four of them in general, is just stuck in my head after watching it a couple more times back to back by myself, I want to skip everything and cover that first so I can empty it all out of my head now that it's presently in there and I'm kind of organized. Let's just dump it. Then we'll get back to everything else in the episode. I just need to discuss the Kurapika scenes first with you. So, the basic plan is to have Killua venture out alone, perform reconnaissance on the troop, watch their base, and update the group for any developments. Utilize his assassinate capabilities. It's right up his alley. Leorio will be the driver. Makes sense, because we've not seen an ounce of aura or nen out of this man. He's not good for much else. He's also the only one besides Kurapika who can drive in the first place. We got like two 13-year-olds we're working with here, and out of 4. But the most important is Gon. Gon will be the decoy. While Gon distracts the troop, Kurapika will go in and capture Pakunoda. Even for half a second, Kurapika says. 1 full second, if that's possible for Gon. If he can draw their attention away for just a second, that's all Kurapika needs, apparently. Gon asks if Kurapika could use his Nen dagger on him, because that would increase his resolve, essentially make him more powerful, or at least assist in his survival. Even though Gon hasn't really honed his Nen abilities yet by actually creating abilities like what Kurapika has. So, this is where it then got confusing for me a little bit. It was understood before that Kurapika would die if he attacked anyone who isn't a troop member with the judgment chain that pierces hearts. But Gon makes the astute observation that if that was true, then why was Kurapika able to wrap his own heart with a Nen blade when he himself isn't a member of the troop, obviously? Killua and Leorio leave the room so that only Gon learns more about Kurapika's abilities and is the only one to have the information in his memory. which puts him in even more danger, especially being the one that's going to be on the front lines. A lot of this is also just, a retelling of basic information we already know, the whole 5 chains, each of which perform their own 5 different functions. 2 of the chains he uses against the spiders, and I presume he means only the spiders. Those 2, being chain jail, judgment chain. Honestly, some of this is very good for me after coming back 2 years later, resurging my own archives, my own memory. Chain jail, we'll just go through all the information. Chain jail being the chain that chains down the enemy where they stand and forces them into Zetsu, which closes their aura nodes and effectively turns off the faucet of their nen. And judgment chain being the chain that drives a dagger right into the enemy's chest, wraps the heart, and kills them if the conditions or rules, etc., Kurapika states are not kept. We know Kurapika has a dagger in his own heart, with the rule that these chains can only be used against members of the troupe. If he uses them, I'm not saying all 5, if he uses them on anyone else, he dies. That resolve thereby increases the power of those chains by staking his life on that rule. My problem before was that I didn't know for which chains this resolve was for, which chain or chains were only for the troupe. I didn't know if it was only judgment chain or that and chain jail. I didn't know. It was somewhat vague, or I just wasn't paying attention very well. But Kurapika said he adjusted the rule to make an exception and adjusted the rule further. I didn't know you could change the rule or adjust the rule, subtract from conditions or add to conditions once they're already set. So once you set once you set conditions, are you allowed to and or able to just change the conditions just like that, willy-nilly, at will, at any given moment, any given time you want? I need answers to that. Can you change the rules at any time? Like Kurapika did right here. He said he changes the rules. He said he will only use chain jail against the spiders. I thought it was judgment chain. Or if anything, I thought it was both. But now he can use the judgment chain on anyone, spider or not. But the new condition is that he must be in his scarlet eye phase in order to use it. The chain can only be used when his eyes are scarlet. And we see that Kurapika has gained the ability to turn his eyes scarlet at will. It's no longer contingent on his emotional state, no longer arises when he's emotionally compromised. He can enter and exit the scarlet phase as he pleases, which also means he can become a specialist at will, because we already knew that he could only enter specialist when his eyes turn scarlet. That was the trigger. But now we know he can become a specialist at will, gaining full strength in any and every ability he's learned. So relating to the chains, is this because unlike chain jail, which have pretty straightforward, like it's this nen type or that nen type, the characteristics of judgment chain are such that it requires Kurapika to tap into multiple nen types. It would require the judgment chain is definitely not purely conjuring. He has to channel conjuring, of course, but there's definitely some manipulation in there and other types as well to it, and which is opposite of conjuring. So it would be one of the least efficient and least powerful abilities of his if he wasn't in specialist mode. But because he's in specialist mode, the entire diagram is 100%. So my main question I have to ask is, when did Kurapika change this rule? When did he when did he master control over Scarlet Eyes? Did he just change the rule recently, was the condition changed after killing of Ogun? That's kind of like the center point or the timeline point I like to use, because it feels like such a critical moment in Kurapika's storytelling, and him as a Nen user is the battle with Uvogan. So I kind of use that as my compass point. So when I ask, like, was the condition changed after killing of Ogun, or did that already exist before? Has this been the condition the entire time? He changed, and like, did he change it all the way since his training? So that would be my question. When did he alter the rules? When did he make it so Chain Jail can only be used against spiders, and Judgment Chain on anyone but under this condition that he must be in Specialist Scarlet Eyes phase? And then, speaking of Scarlet Eyes, the question I asked also of when did he master the Scarlet Eyes? It did show a flashback to him training in the forest with that man. I forgot his name. So was it just simply a flashback to his early days of training in Nen for the first time? There's no meaning to it. It's just a flashback. Or was that on purpose, and it was implying that he's had his Scarlet Eyes mastered for that long? He had it mastered since his training in the forest? Meaning, his fight with Uvogan, he already mastered his Scarlet Eyes? And was this why the Chain Jail was so strong to restrain even someone like Uvogan? Because of the condition that it's Chain Jail that can't be used on anyone other than a spider. So that's a super strict condition, which makes Chain Jail stronger. And Kurapika was in his Scarlet Eyes phase during that battle, we know. So he was able to use Judgment Chain on him as well. I know conditions and vows are different in Hunter x Hunter. Conditions, I would assume, yeah, those can be changed. They're just conditions. Conditions can be changed, I guess, while vows are essentially contracts, and those can't be violated without some sort of punishment. I am either losing that Nen ability, losing Nen entirely, or in Kurapika's case, full on dying. I just don't know which of Kurapika's are simple conditions and which are vows. Is only being able to use Chain Jail on a spider simply a condition, or can only use Judgment Chain while in Scarlet Eyes phase? Those are conditions. And then he adds on the vow or contract that he is staking his own life on following those rules. So it kind of boosts it even further. Am I understanding that correctly? I would just love an explanation on the timeline and everything else I said, because that is what is still kind of confusing me or racking my brain. But now that I got that whole specific conversation out of the way, I'll discuss the overall episode. This episode felt much like a part 2 of the previous episode. No action just yet. That will certainly be happening next episode, but much planning and scheming today. The spiders are scheming, and now we finally have our squad, our boys, back to planning and strategizing together for a new mission. Brings me right back to all the strategizing and brainstorming we had during the Hunter exam arc, the Zoldyck Estate episodes. We have our team up once again. The mission this time, to capture and eliminate Pakunoda. And I already said during the episode, Pakunoda definitely dying. She will not betray the troop. And coming right after an entire episode today dedicated just to essentially explaining Kurapika's abilities and specifically Judgment Chain, obviously that means we're going to be seeing Kurapika heavily and him using his abilities. They want to prepare you and ramp it up by, hey, we're about to show you all this action. Make sure you remember how it all works. That's like TV and movies 101. He'll use Judgment Chain on Pakunoda, that she can't expose Kurapika or can't, disclose the information she's gained from Gon, either previously when he was with Killua, or maybe she captures him again and takes more information. If she does, she dies. And so she will die because she would rather die being loyal to the troop than value her own life more than the group's. That's what I'm thinking. She'll get the words out, and that's how she'll die. That's my prediction. She's also honestly not that interesting of a side character. If you're thinking of the entire ensemble of the Phantom Troupe, all the spiders, I don't really give a shit about Pakunoda. So she's also primed to be killed off. The only thing I don't like about this strategy is the fact Kurapika's strategy does seem to use Gon as bait to further his agenda. Gon and Killua have unwavering trust in Kurapika. It contrasts with the lies and deception and manipulation surrounding them and everyone and everything. Kurapika, using Gon and Killua essentially as pawns, at least in my eyes, kind of raises some ethical questions for him. Do the ends justify the means this much? I was kind of talking about that for the past few episodes concerning Kurapika. He said he was grateful for the resolve. He was grateful to have this friendship, grateful to have them as friends. But I get the feeling this resolve involves a lot of sacrifice in his decision making. His strategy directly involves endangering his friends, using Gon as the distraction, the bait, the decoy, and then sending Killua by himself to scout. And by doing so, I think this symbolizes the sacrifice Kurapika is making to his morality in exchange and in pursuit of vengeance. The Phantom Troupe are willing to die for each other, but what is Kurapika willing to sacrifice, die for, or kill for? I think this might be leading up to an internal conflict for Kurapika between his personal vendetta against the troop and his personal relationships, his friendships. Is Kurapika manipulating his friends, or do you think not? Like, am I kind of getting too deep, too cynical? Is this the darker side to his character, or is this, just purely accepting his friends, wanting to help and be there for him, blah blah blah? His cold, calculated demeanor, though, shows the toll his quest for revenge is taken, which is why seeing those smiles, seeing those little moments of laughter, some chuckling, feels so much more emotional and impactful and heavy. Regardless, the methodical approach we see from Kurapika as the leader in the chain of command really shows his evolution into being a master tactician, a true conjurer. The risk of involving his friends is entirely and very much calculated. Kurapika has an unwavering resolve, and he carries an incredible burden, not only as the sole survivor of the Kurta clan, but being the one who's putting his own friends in great danger on his behalf for his pursuit. And then talking about the Phantom Troupe side, I also love the opening scene with Hisoka. I love Hisoka. Those iconic shots of him getting aroused by the pure risk, the thrill, the plan working, getting closer and closer to being alone with Chrollo to kill him. He is an actual genius. He is exactly what his own personality test says about transmuters. The way he has Chrollo parsing through his fake information, trying to break it down, rationalize it, create some answers, find some answers when all of it is bullshit. You're parsing through bullshit to try and find some truth. There is a sharp mind beneath all the madness in Hisoka. Also, how Hisoka has clearly been acutely observing every single step of every single member of the troop since the moment he joined. He knows their personalities. He knows their idiosyncrasies, just everything. And he has obviously acutely observed Kurapika this entire time just as much. Kurapika has never told anyone, including Hisoka, even his best friends, about his abilities. We know as observers Kurapika's abilities as a conjurer, but neither Hisoka or the rest of the troop or anybody know what Nen type he is or what abilities he possesses. But Hisoka was able to ascertain Kurapika's Nen type and abilities purely by observation to a scarily accurate degree, I might add. I mean, it is Hisoka who shared his Nen personality test, which has not failed me thus far in using it and predicting characters' Nen types. That's what I've been going by, and it has not failed me since. With the Zoldyck characters, with our main characters, with the Phantom Troupe characters, during the Heaven's Arena arc, I was using that, and it has not failed me. Hisoka would be able to deduce Kurapika is a conjurer based off his personality and what he's been able to piece together since the Hunter exam. Uvogin's death, etc., stuff like that. So while Kurapika can't conjure a sword of law, Hisoka knows Kurapika can conjure, and whatever he can conjure must be eerily close to the explanation he provides about the sword of law. Because how else would Uvogin have died? As an enhancer, he knew Uvogin is incredibly strong. He's also not a liar. He would not lie, and he would not betray the troop. So, Kurapika's powers must be related to the truth, being able to demand answers, being able to demand orders, being able to influence a person, and as an so without knowing Kurapika can conjure or conjure chains specifically, or conjure a specific chain that pierces and sets rules on his enemies, he is able to come very close enough and guide Chrollo down this thought path and the rest of the troop in this direction, that it's a conjured sword that pierces and sets rules on enemies. Really close. So while he doesn't know the physical manifestation, he knows the essence of the ability. Right now, there is no reason to not believe Hisoka, and he's taking advantage of that. Hisoka has teetered the line just enough that the information he did spill out saved his ass by making him appear as a victim of a powerful Nen ability, and it was just enough information to give the troop pause, but not too much information that they, get up and leave and not do what he wants. It's brilliant and not far-fetched either. I mean, if the chain user could kill Uvogin, the spiders have to reasonably respect and expect the chain user enough to agree that they could have gotten that the chain user could have gotten simply the mere jump on Hisoka to apply this mysterious sort of law on him. If he can kill Uvogin, reasonable enough to say that he could at least detain Hisoka to perform this ability on him. And because Chrollo and his words hold so much weight and sway within the group, being the leader, all Hisoka has to say is, yes, no, I can't tell you that. And other answers while Chrollo attempts to extrapolate this false data and come up with answers and a plan based off this false information. And these are answers and a plan the rest of the group will believe in and listen to. Hisoka is a man of trickery and deception in a group that leans toward logic and rationale. So he knows he can use that very tendency towards logic and reasonable, rational thought against them, because they wouldn't think of the irrational, they wouldn't think of the absurd, and that's entirely what Hisoka is. And I'm sure there's something about Pakunoda not using her ability on Hisoka that either hasn't been explained yet, or is something you should just think for yourself, like something that doesn't need to be explained to you. Because that's what I'm thinking when I'm watching the episode of, oh, well, why doesn't Pakunoda just touch Hisoka and gain his memories? Like, one could easily ask that. Like, ooh, we have this super powerful ability right here to pretty much, what? why doesn't Pakunoda just look at Hisoka's memories? I think the troupe would be weary of doing so because they might believe accessing his memories would go against the sort of law in a loopholey, complicated way, and it would kill Hisoka. Or that's not something Pakunoda could just get up and do to her fellow troupe member without permission from Chrollo or consent from Hisoka. These troupe members have all been together for years. I don't know how long Pakunoda has been in the troupe, maybe since the beginning, maybe for a decade. I actually don't know. They are practically family, though. That is what I'm trying to get at. So I wonder if there would be, if it's like an unspoken rule or pact not to use one's powers on their fellow spider members in a provoking way or in a negative way. You essentially using the powers against them and not to their behalf or to their benefit or to their assistance, like how we saw Kurapika, create dolls and fake corpses of the troupe members, but that was to help the troupe and the spiders mission. Doing what I'm saying Pakunoda could do to Hisoka, that would be an ultimate act of distrust, disrespect, and I feel almost like treason, especially if it doesn't come from Chrollo giving permission. All in all, though, I'm excited for next episode to see this mission play out. It will likely get messy. It always does. Things will go wrong. They always do. And Gon and Killua are just kids in this world. They will be in danger. And Kurapika will have to confront his vengeance pinned against his friends. I think it's going to choose either or. And he's not going to sacrifice his friends. And I think Pakunoda will get terminated. I don't know what Hisoka will do, if he does anything at all, because he has to wait until they're all alone. So everyone else has to go away first. And I know they're being placed into small groups, but I don't know what each of them are going to be doing. So everyone has to go away first. Hisoka has to be left alone with Chrollo for him to even pounce. It might not be his time to strike yet this entire episode, but it will be time for Kurapika to strike. We shall see. And that is where I'm going to end today's discussion. I did have many more questions today than I had answers and explaining and discussing, so I will need your help with that. But if you enjoyed today's video, hitting that like button to let me know is very much appreciated. And if you haven't subscribed already, hit that subscribe button to stay in the loop in this community. Don't forget to keep the conversation going down below in the comment section. Having said all that, and with that said, so long, farewell, until next time, stay you, have a good one.